So make sure you make sure you shine up for the cheat sheets. Hey guys, Cheri from the Watering Mouth here, doing another what I eat in a day to lose weight on the Eat to Live Nutritarian diet, which comes from the book Eat to Live by Dr. Joel Fuhrman. I highly recommend that you check it out. It's fantastic. It's all about how to live your longest, healthiest life with amazing, high nutrient, whole foods, plant-based stuff. Super delicious. My channel is all about this, about how to make this part of your life. Sorry, the sun is coming in and out of clouds, so the light is changing a little bit. But today we're going to be talking about how I make certain meals in order to be satiated, so I don't feel super hungry all the time, get enough bulk, and also have them be low enough calorie to where I can maintain my happy weight, which is our healthiest weight, kind of in the BMI range. Everyone should be looking for a BMI of around 18.5 to about 23. That's a wide range. It's about 20-25 pounds, but if you stay in that range, you can be looking for the best longevity, the best disease fighting and prevention going on in your body, as long as you're eating high nutrient foods as well. It's best for longevity. You can read more about this in the book Eat to Live, but that's what I follow, that's what I talk about on my channel. So check out what I'm making today. This is a set of meals that I would make if I was trying to lose weight. Most people would lose weight eating this quantity of food. Now it's still a big quantity of food, which is nice. You guys would notice if you actually have this smoothie or this salad, it's a good quantity. If you need a little bit more, you can always have extra steamed non-starchy vegetables. And everyone's always like, oh, but why would I want that? Well, after a while you actually get very acclimated to those tastes, and they feel very satiating compared to something else. So this is a great way to kind of add in food if you need it. You can have unlimited amounts of that, definitely feel full, and start to reset those hunger cues and interest in certain foods. So I'm gonna show you these meals. Today, I'm probably gonna be eating more than this because I'm not looking to lose weight right now. So I'll probably supplement with I have an extra smoothie in my fridge or some other things that I could eat. But this is definitely something you could start with to try and lose weight. A couple of notes: if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you do that by clicking the subscribe button and also the bell button to get notifications of every time I publish new videos. I'm trying to do these what I eat in a day videos once a month at least, so make sure you don't miss out on these when I publish them. And any link that I talk about in videos is always down in the show more description or in the description above the video, depending on where you're watching it. For every video I do, I include a cheat sheet, which is a PDF of all the things I talked about in the video. So for this video, you're gonna get some awesome new recipes that I haven't released before. So make sure you make sure you shine up for the cheat sheets at thewateringmouth.com/cheatsheets. Okay, let's get in the kitchen. Let me show you what I'm making. For the breakfast, I'm gonna be making a green smoothie. It's gonna be warm. Now, a lot of people think that's really weird. It's something I came up with very recently because I always want to have smoothies, green smoothies during the winter, but it's just too cold. So I came up with the idea of warm smoothies, and I gotta say, it was a little bit of inspired genius because I didn't think I was gonna like them at first, but I found a couple of flavor combinations that really work. So you can still have your green smoothie in the morning, in the winter, without freezing to death, get some really good greens and nutrients in without having to eat a big pile of veggies for breakfast. You can actually have this cold. If you like it better cold and you don't mind having that in the winter, or say you live in Australia right now or something, you can totally have this cold. And I think they're even better cold, but warm is really great too to have that in the middle of the winter. So this is my cherry hot chocolate smoothie. So I'm gonna actually use collard greens plus a little bit of kale. You can use whatever cruciferous veggie you have on hand, and I'll put a little bit of notes of that in the cheat sheets too. I start off with romaine. Now, for a breakfast smoothie for me, I'm trying to get in as many greens as possible. So what I usually do, that sort of what I count out, I take these whole heads of romaine. This is not a heart of romaine. You might find hearts in the bags, you know, like 3 to a bag usually. I always buy the heads of romaine because I like to get those darker greens in there. Sometimes I get the hearts just for efficiency. So I have measured out that it's about 10 leaves of a head of romaine. So those are pretty big leaves. That's how I start. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, keep going, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now they get a little smaller as you go in, so I usually will add 1 or 2 more just for fun. Now, if you guys aren't used to the taste of greens, then you're gonna maybe want to cut back a little bit, but you want to work up to this amount. This is for 1 smoothie, you guys, 1. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here and wash these because they got a little bit of dirt on them, you can see, and then I'm gonna put them into my blender. Then I put in 1 cup-ish of unsweetened non-dairy milk. Just measure it right on the Vitamix. Bless you! Okay, then I put my greens in. So I usually just take them and break them into pieces, put them down in the bottom like that, and let them kind of be in there real soft and fluffy so that the Vitamix will bring them down into the blade. And I usually try to fill up the Vitamix one time first and then blend it and then add my cruciferous. I can tell by now I don't have quite enough greens because it's just kind of to the top a little bit. I'm gonna add 1 or 2 more. So this is kind of just how I measure. And that's still not quite enough, but I'm just gonna leave it. Blend this down a bit, then I'll add my collards. I get really annoyed when the Vitamix doesn't bring it down itself, because then I have to stop when I'm doing shake and stuff. I hate using the tamper, so. I'm gonna add just a little bit of kale too, because these collards are really small. Just a little handful. Okay, that's good. That's like the perfect amount of greens for me. Some people say you shouldn't have smoothies because you would end up eating a lot more than you would if you were actually chewing the food yourself. And I say, well, this is great because then you eat a lot more greens than you would. This is maybe a lot more. No, this is about what I would eat in a salad too, so that doesn't really apply to me. But if you're just starting out, this is a great way to get your greens in if you're not so into having so many salads, because you can make it sweeter with fruit, stuff like that. And then I have some more romaine for later. Here's how I store romaine in the fridge. I take the produce bags, and I reuse these, by the way. I put 1 or 2 paper towels in there and then seal it lightly so it gets a little airflow still, and then I put this into my fridge in a real cold area. That keeps it really fresh for even up to a week has been really helpful for me. And then once I'm done with this bag, I'll reuse this paper towel. Like, I have a bunch of paper towels in my drawer here. For this recipe, we're also putting in some cherries and some bananas, and I only have frozen cherries, so I'm actually gonna microwave them first and get them unfrozen so that when I turn this into a warm smoothie that it will be easier to get it there using my blender. But if you are making this as a cold smoothie, then you can totally just use frozen cherries and that'll be perfect. So the concept of this is that I'm using a really high powered blender like the Vitamix, okay? So this Vitamix here is the 5200 model. It's my favorite. It's the one I recommend for people when they're starting out. Totally worth the investment. What's really cool about a Vitamix is that they have such a high powered motor that they will warm up things as you're blending. If you were to leave something blending for 2-3 minutes, it's gonna actually warm it up. So it's cool. You can actually make soups in the Vitamix. Just pour a bunch of vegetables in there and, you know, blend and let it warm up. And I use this for my smoothies as well to get them a little bit warm so that it's easier to eat in the winter. I'm gonna put a link for the Vitamix that I have down below so that if you guys are interested, you can check it out. So if you don't use microwaves, that's totally cool. You don't have to warm these up over the stove or just let it run longer in your Vitamix. I did another what I eat in a day recipe recently, and it was called the warm apple cobbler smoothie. I've also done one called the warm apple cinnamon smoothie. Those ones are awesome to warm. Those are a couple flavor combinations that I really love warm, so feel free to check those out too. Those are in previous cheat sheets. So I'm gonna be using a whole banana in this, and I wanna just say this is how your bananas should be when you're gonna use them in a smoothie. At least this spotty or more, like usually way more is what I like for bananas. And so you want to have them be spotty because that means that the starches in the banana have converted to sugar more, so it's going to be nice and sweet. Okay, I've got a good start on thawing my cherries here, so I'm going to use these as is. And let's assemble the rest of the smoothie. We put our cherries in, throw in the banana. At this point, I just put everything else in the blender. Sometimes I do it in pieces to make sure everything blends right. Always put 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed in your smoothies if you can. So you can always get 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed every day. It's really important for anti-cancer benefits and excellent omega-3 fatty acids during the day. I'm gonna put in 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. This is raw cacao, but you can use regular cocoa powder, that's fine. A 1/4 cup of walnuts, unsalted raw walnuts. A squeeze of fresh lemon juice. Now, lemon is important in smoothies when you have greens as well as nuts and seeds, because it will help to increase the nutrient absorption, and it really is significant. So adding a little bit of citrus, if you can, to a smoothie is great. If not, don't worry about it, but it's a nice thing that you can do, and I think this one is really good for flavor. This is the basic recipe, so I'm gonna go ahead and blend now, and I'm gonna let it blend for an extra minute or two so it will become warm. Okay, so it only takes about a minute or two for it to blend to get to warm extra. So I put my hand on the side to see that it's a little bit warm. Now I don't like it hot, so if it's starting to feel like it gets really warm, then I think it's a little bit too warm, but I just like to see it to be a little bit warm there. Now this flavor is perfect for me. I think it's really delicious. Make sure you sort of play with things and move things around. If you find something to be too strong in flavor, add some more cherries, that's totally fine. So let's pour this sucker out and have some breakfast. Perfect. Cheers. Perfect. Now this smoothie is about a 30-ounce smoothie. This is huge, and keep in mind it has a ton of greens in it, so it's actually really gonna fill you up. I can usually only get to about 20 to 24 ounces of a smoothie like this. Then what I like to do is put the leftover in the fridge for the day, and I have it later on, either after lunch or after dinner, as sort of a sweet tooth thing. Sometimes when I'm really trying to lose weight a little bit faster and just get really motivated, I'll just have the leftover as my dinner. And you could add even some extra steamed veggies, as I was saying, or whatever, to make it a bigger meal. But that's, you know, usually in the evening after I've eaten so much food like this, and you guys will see this is really a lot of food. I'm not even really that hungry for dinner, so something like this is perfect just to have a little bit of something to hold me over through the night, and then that way I get some decent weight loss and I feel really great, and I know I got enough calories and tons of really good nutrients as well during the day. Another note about blenders: if you have a regular blender, like a standard blender that's not a Vitamix, you are probably not gonna like this smoothie. They can come out pretty chunky, you know, the greens don't get really blended up, but with the Vitamix you can see it's really smooth. This is what you're looking for to be satisfied with your smoothies, because if you have to sort of chew it a little bit, it's not it's not very nice. So keep this in mind. You definitely want to be saving up for Vitamix when you get the chance. And then I know a lot of people actually do have regular blenders and they're just fine with this, but just as a word to the wise, in case you don't like it and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't actually taste good, it may just be your blender, okay? See you at lunch. Have the lunch that I'm going to show you now, which is going to be really big and satisfying, and then that should get you through several hours. And if you need anything for dinner, then you can have the leftover smoothie. That's like the perfect amount of food. Lots of people talk about being afraid of that amount of food because they think that it's not going to be enough, but I promise you it's a large amount of food, and if you can get used to this amount of food, your stomach is going to shrink a little bit so you're satisfied with less, and the sort of bulk and the fiber that are in these meals is going to make it so that you lose weight easier, because you'll have less calories, less food technically, but you'll be getting tons of nutrients and tons of bulk, so you won't feel hungry, if that makes sense, okay? That's kind of the whole idea of this lifestyle. So just trust that this is the right amount of food, that you're getting enough calories, and if you do need more food to eat, you can always have a ton of steamed vegetables, like do a whole cauliflower, eat the whole thing. That would be totally fine. A lot of people maybe don't want that because they're like, oh, I'd so much rather have something else to eat, but this is how we do this lifestyle. This is how we remain satiated. This is how we lose the weight, and most importantly, this is how we get used to eating these types of foods and liking them more and more and more over time, to where we actually do prefer to eat this way, okay? So without further ado, let's do lunch. What I've decided to do for you guys today is to show you a big salad and then a side that you guys can have with it. That's super awesome, and if you have prepared something ahead of time, it only takes a few minutes to make, so it's going to be really cool. Green leaf lettuce is my favorite for the base of salads because it's really mild. Just super mild flavor. It tastes really yummy, and it's got some good nutrition in it. I'm gonna use this for my salad, this whole thing. As I said before, I typically will choose about 10 leaves of something when I'm making a salad or a smoothie. That's sort of the base of what I start with. But since these are the inside ends of it, I'm just gonna use 2 of these and not really count because I can tell this is about how much I want for my base. At the same time, since I'm gonna clean these, I'm also just gonna clean a bunch of my romaine and put it into this new huge 42 cup bowl that I'm keeping in my fridge nowadays, which I really love. I started doing this really recently off a tip of Chef AJ's videos, and I really, really love it. I'm gonna put a link for that particular bowl down in the show more section, the description, and in the cheat sheet. So if you want to find out where I got that bowl and try that method for yourself, feel free. For our salad today, we're going to make a big huge salad, and we're going to make something else. This is the size salad that I usually eat. If you are making a salad, keep in mind this is the 2-quart serving bowl from Corral. So you want to be making tons and tons of salad because that's really going to fill up that belly, and you're going to be able to feel satiated and not feel like you need to eat, you know, at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or whatever, because you'll be, you know, pretty full. You kind of want to start with about 5 to 6 cups of lettuce. Now, you guys, I'm gonna say this and I can't stress it enough. The amount of lettuce that you eat is what's gonna keep you on this diet. If you don't eat enough, you're constantly gonna feel hungry. So you really have to overdo it on lettuce because lettuce is the lowest calorie, highest nutrients. It is the base of this entire lifestyle. It is so important. I can't stress it enough. So when I give you recommendations about how much lettuce to be using or how many greens to be using, don't take them lightly. This is the most important part of my advice. And what your challenge then is to find out how you need to prepare it so that you like it, okay? And you have to just keep trying new things and keep working on different recipes and try different people's recipes too, to just find something that you like and figure out how you can get more and more of these greens in. I like to chop lettuce really thin and small. I kind of like it like spaghetti, honestly. And then I even chop it a little bit more, so to me that's just really pleasant to eat. I like that texture of lettuce. Okay, so this is starting to be a pretty decent base. We're gonna add some arugula to this. So I have some baby arugula here. I'm gonna put the rest of this in here, but you can use more or less. It's important to get some arugula or kale or something that's cruciferous into each salad and into your smoothie every day, so you can get lots of this super high potent anti-cancer type foods. When you chop these foods or blend these foods when they're raw, they actually create more of that anti-cancer benefit, because when the stuff that's inside the cells combines with the stuff that's inside the cell walls, from chopping and mixing that stuff together, that's what ends up creating what's called ITC, which is the anti-cancer stuff. So you want to chop it. Ideally, if you can leave it sit for a little bit so it can kind of mix together and those little things inside of there, those little microscopic guys can sort of mingle and do their thing, that's going to be the best thing for you. But a caveat, do not worry about every single detail either, right? All these things I'm telling you are things that I've put into practice over my lifetime of doing this, over my whole 5-6 years of doing this. So if you don't get every single step right in the beginning, don't worry. Just do what you can. But listen to the things that I say are the most important, like getting in enough greens, right? Because all that matters is that you get in the food, and you can worry about refining all the little things later. So I like to chop these small because arugula is a pretty peppery, it has a bite. A lot of people don't like arugula when they start out, but let me mention, it takes 15 to 20 times of trying a food before we start to like it, okay? If we don't like it in the beginning. So keep that in mind. This is all about experimentation, and something that you don't like now, you might love later. This is what's happened to me with so many different foods, and it comes down a lot to the changes that happen when you're eating the foods. So in order for those changes to occur, you have to eat the food, right? So you might not like it at first, but you are on your way to liking it. This is the perfect base for a regular salad. If we make too much salad, or we make like we can't finish our lunch, this is the perfect food to put all together for dinner. Like I have some of this leftover smoothie, I have some leftover salad, I might have some leftover of the chickpea pancakes, which is the other thing that we're gonna make. Then if you just kind of have all those little leftovers from the day for your dinner, you have the perfect amount of food to lose weight, to get a bunch of nutrients in, to feel satisfied. And then if you make foods the way I'm giving you sort of these little tips, then you don't have to cook too much either, okay? So with an arugula salad, arugula tends to be bitter, as I said, so I like to cut it with something that is sweet. So we're gonna add apple and blueberry to it. Arugula is a great salad to have with fruit, so that's what we're gonna do today. The first thing I like to do with apples, I just core them because I eat so many apples lately that I don't want to chop them all up because it's just too much work. Okay, so I just cored that guy. And then I'm going to use my mandolin. I don't use the guard, but I'm really careful. I like to get these really thin slices and then chop the rest. And eat the pieces that can't get sliced well. Okay? I just take my knife and run through it a few places. And got nice, easy chopped apple. Okay. You can use any kind of apple you want here. They all go really well. Okay. Then I'm gonna add in blueberries. So I love blueberries. I'm gonna put a lot in. I'm gonna put this whole thing in. But you could use as little or as many as you want. And blueberries are just such a good food that we should be having every day. So don't skimp on those. I'm gonna use green onion for this one, but you could use any kind of onion. But it must be raw. You have to eat raw onion. That's more of the anti-cancer. You gotta have raw onion every day, so I think it's always best to just put it into the salad. But it also makes a really good topping for soup. Then we always want to have some beans in our salad. So I made these chickpeas the other day, but you could easily use canned chickpeas if you like. And half cup it. This is the basic salad. Some fresh lemon. I also have a salad dressing that I made the other day. I'm not going to show you how I made it because I already made it clearly, but I am going to put it in your cheat sheets recipe guide thing. So it's just a cashew cream sauce. I'm going to use this as my dressing for salad. I'm going to use about a tablespoon or two. If you've already had the nuts from the smoothie, we're not going to be having any grains today. We're not going to have any avocado. We're not going to have any dried fruit. So you can up the amount of nuts and seeds that you have past 1 ounce, which is his typical recommendation because we're going to be having less of the other limited foods. Just be wise about the sort of changes that you make to it, that if you're adding something that's more of the high calorie dense foods, that you want to cut back in other places, okay? But the way that I'm showing you today that I'm doing it is going to be just fine for weight loss. Here is the beautiful salad. On to part 2 of this meal. This one is really exciting because it's so easy and it really feels like a little bit decadent and fun. We're going to be making chickpea pancakes, veggie chickpea pancakes, okay? So what I did, the veggie part of this, I made a stir fry the other day. I made it on my YouTube stories, showing you guys how to make it, what I put in it. Now this is just a water saute. So all I did was take every single veggie that was in my fridge that I kind of had to use up. I've got asparagus, I used onion, I had some butternut squash, zucchini, mushrooms, and a few other things. I added them to a huge wok. I just put all of the veggies in there raw, all at the same time. I didn't really like time anything, and I just added 1 or 2 tablespoons of water on high heat every once in a while to keep it from sticking and burning on the bottom, and just kept stirring it until they were all cooked, which is about 15 minutes I think it was. This is my favorite way of doing it because I can ensure that the vegetables don't get too mushy, because I like to have some texture in my vegetables still. Here I'm gonna make the chickpea batter. Now this couldn't be any easier, you guys. Here's what chickpea, also called garbanzo beans. These are the beans that we put into our salad. Same thing, they're called garbanzo beans in Spanish, chickpeas in English. They make this flour out of them. Okay, so instead of having flour made from wheat, which is typical, this is flour made from beans, which is really cool. But I have to say, flour from beans is not unlimited because that's processed. So we don't want to eat this unlimited, but it's definitely something that we can have every once in a while. I'm gonna put a link for this flour down below in case you can't find it at your local health store. This is just Bob's Red Mill brand. I love this brand. Just measure out 1 cup of flour. then you make it like pancake batter, but all you have to do is use water. So what I do is just get a little bit of water. It's gonna be hard to do with one hand. Put some water in there. I put less than I think I need. Mix that up so it's kind of a paste. And you just add more water as you go, and that's gonna ensure that you don't get any lumps. Water a little at a time and keep mixing. Mix it all. Now I add some more water. Now this is gonna be enough for consistency. I'm gonna say this is probably a half a cup of water total, but I haven't measured it, so you're gonna have to just sort of test it out with the way it looks. You want it to be this kind of, you know, pancake batter consistency until you get this. See how smooth that is? That's it. Your batter is ready to go. All you're gonna do is warm this up and then put this on top, cook it, and you're done. Let me show you. Okay, so I put my pan on medium-high heat. This is like a 6 or a 7 over my big burner, and I can see this is a big pan. This is about the size of pancake I like to make, and then I just sort of quarter it for a meal. So I get it preheating, and you can actually preheat this while you're mixing up your batter. And then all I do is take my stir fry that I've already made. Now, if you haven't made your stir fry already, this would be a great time to do it. You could just be cooking your vegetables, do like a big huge water saute, and then in another pan you could be doing the pancakes once your veggies are done. Or if you already have a stir fry done, this is kind of a little too much. Let me remove a little bit. I'm gonna say a cup and a half. You want to have a little bit of contact with a little bit of pan showing, because that's what's going to help cook the pancake. So just whatever pan you use, just make sure there's a little pan showing. See that? One thing I forgot to mention is that I actually am going to chop these up first, these vegetables up first, because I forgot I also give these pancakes to my daughter, so that way she needs smaller pieces of veggies. So I'm just going to chop these first, put them back in the pan, and keep warming them. And then I'm going to pour in the chickpea batter. So I'm going to pour it to try to cover things pretty well. Like this, and then kind of move it around a bit so it will spread evenly. And then you want to let it sit. You know that it's time to flip when there are bubbles that start to pop up and get dry, and it sort of dries around the outside. That's when you can start flipping. So we'll come back in just a minute and I'll show you that. I have to admit that I think I've only once successfully been able to get the whole pancake and flip, but that's okay. It'll still be good in pieces, and we're not eating this whole thing at one time anyhow. You should probably only eat a third or a half of this max at a meal, like for a meal. And if you're having it with a salad, man, a quarter of this is gonna be plenty, and then you'll still have some left over, okay? So I'm gonna let this cook a little while longer. Now keep in mind, this is awesome because we didn't use any oil, any salt, any sugar, anything like that. This is just the vegetables and the chickpea flour plus some water. So if you like more flavor, maybe you're just starting out or you just happen to love spices, you are welcome to put anything in this that you want that's non-salt related. So any kind of spices, herbs, flavorings, so many different possibilities here with this. So make it your own. Turmeric would be super great, black pepper, you know, make it spicy, add some cayenne, whatever you like. Okay, so you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but it's not as glossy anymore. It's starting to be really cooked, this dough here. So this is a good time to flip. And then just cook the other side for a few minutes and I'll be done. Okay, time to flip. Good. See, I'm not really being careful because I know I'm going to eat it in pieces anyways. And I want to make sure to get it off the bottom of the pan. Of course, when we don't use oil, things are a little more difficult in, you know, compared to how we used to cook, but that's okay. No big deal, it's just what it is. And it's much healthier to eat this way without the oil, and it will help us lose weight. Okay, that's done. Okay, so now we have a big, huge pancake that we could use however we want. This is about 1 serving size, I'd say, so about 1/4 of it. Or if you're having it as a full meal, half of it is probably good. I think it's best if you have this with a salad, like some salad and one of these. Now, a word about them is that they get a little dry in the fridge, and they get a little dry anyways just because there's no oil or anything like that. So I love to serve these with salsa on top. And if you don't need to worry too much about calories, you can also add avocado on top. You could put hummus on top. That is super yummy. I've had that before. You could put just some tomatoes on top. Lots of different ways you could serve this to get. And I also, when I serve it to my daughter, I put some cashew cream sauce on each bite too, so she gets a little fat with it too. So lots of different ways you could serve it. Super, super yummy. And I'm gonna have my lunch now. So there you have it. I have this little pancake, which I could put, you know, some salsa on or hummus or something like that. I've got this salad, which I should eat first and eat as much of it as I can and have a little, maybe a little bit here and there of the pancake while I'm eating. This is a really great way to not eat too much of the more calorie dense stuff and eat just enough of the lower calorie stuff. Get out my little fork here because I'm really excited about this salad actually. With all that lemon juice on there, it's gonna give it really good flavor. You guys. Okay, this guy. That's awesome. Oh, you know what would be really good with this too, probably? Some vinegar even. Put some vinegar on top. Put some vinegar in the salad too. Yum. This day's food would be some of the smoothie, some of the salad and the chickpea pancake, and then for dinner would be some leftovers of this stuff, and you would have so much food and be so happy because it tastes so delicious. Make sure you get the cheat sheet. You can sign up for that at thewateringmouth.com/cheatsheets. You'll also get all of the old cheat sheets as well if you sign up for that, and you get the password in email. Then you can just access everything from before. Every recipe I've ever put into cheat sheets and all the tips and everything too, okay? Hope you guys really like this one. This is a set of meals that I'm really excited about, so I hope you like it too. As always, please consider supporting me on Patreon. If you like these videos that I make for you for free, if you feel like they enhance your healthy eating journey at all and they give you some extra information about how to continue to do this for the rest of your life, this is my whole goal, is to help you understand more about it. Please consider supporting me there. It's a place where I like to say all the cool kids hang out. That's where the VIPs are, really, the people that feel a push to help me a little bit more. Those folks over there get some exclusive content that I don't share with anyone else, personal stuff from my iPhone, videos, family, stuff like this, as well as some extra in-depth coaching notes and more information about how to make this part of your lifestyle. So it's a great place to go and be amongst those who are really trying to make my channel turn into the biggest thing that it can, because the more people I can touch like you, the more people, the more information I can get out there about how to do this successfully, the more of us will be healthy, the better this will all get, okay? So please check me out on Patreon and consider supporting me even a little bit there. It would be so appreciated. Make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell button. Also comment down below. Let me know what the best looking recipe was here amongst these three. I want to hear from you, and if you've ever made anything similar, how do you sort of tweak things, or what's your favorite way of making this kind of stuff? And of course, share this video with your friends if you think it's helpful. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!